Do you ever wake up in the morning and say to yourself, what in the world is going on? The whole place went to hell in a handbag and you don't even own a handbag. I'm telling you, if you want Xanax through your hearing aids, then this is the thing you should do. You should listen to the Randi Lupo Show because she covers everything from comedians to writers and everything in between. She's entertaining and informative at the same time. She's everything that you wished your mother-in-law would be, and she isn't. But Randi, she was born in Brooklyn, New York, a different Brooklyn than most, a two-bears own Brooklyn. Randi brings his unique outlook to the show, and Lord knows we do need a different outlook. So now, put down your lattes, get your fat ass sitting down wherever you are, because you're about to see and hear something you never heard before. And that's our host, Randi Lupo.
Hi, everyone. Today in studio we have Chip Ambrogio.
It's very nice to be here, Randi.
Thank you so much for coming. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and you've been pretty hard to get. I know
There's
you've been
a thing called a phone. You could have called me, but I'm glad that I'm here.
Well, that's all that matters,
That's
right?
all that
Listen,
matters.
I broke my fingernail. Give me a fucking break. Oh, I mean, give me a break, please. Anyway,
I was going to ask you if there's any restrictions to language.
Oh, yeah, no cursing, please.
Okay,
Listen,
all
go
right.
fuck yourself, but there's no cursing.
Okay.
So anyway, you know, you're a really interesting guy. You know, you're a comedian, you're a writer, you're an actor, and a muffin maker as well.
You know what? There's something that drives you, and for me, it's batter. It's when I can make a perfect muffin, you know, it makes the writing, the acting, and everything. Because if you think about it, baking is like acting in comedy.
You know, you're right. You're right. And
I don't know how I'm going to back that up, but it sounds like a great statement, doesn't
well,
it?
you know what? But look, Chip actually baked some muffins for us today, and I think
I'm
we
not
should
proud
taste
of those
them.
muffins because they didn't bloom the way they usually do.
You know, Chip knows that the one
I
thing
have
about
muffin
me-
envy sometimes when I
Yes,
go to the bakeries. I feel very inadequate because their muffins are so much larger than mine.
You know what, though? We're all overweight as Americans, and I think that your muffins are basically like the perfect size. Am I right? Perfect size muffins, seriously. You know, and I have to tell you, you know, I love it that you bake muffins because I am a muffin eater.
Okay.
And my favorite ones are corn, like you made. I
Corn.
particularly like them cut in half, toasted, with butter dripping down to my elbow. To me, what's better than that? Come on.
Can I tell you what actually drove me to originally make muffins?
What?
When I first moved to Jersey, I had a job, and my job was I was pumping gas because I thought after going to college for 4 years, I should get it on the ground floor of something big. So I used to go to this diner, the Seville Diner, which is no longer there, in Westwood, New Jersey, and I would always order, can I just have a plain muffin and a cup of coffee? And no butter, toasted, whatever, but every morning the woman would toast my muffin, and it would take longer, and I would be late for work.
Right.
And I would get yelled at, and I was just too shy to tell her that, you know, that I just want a plain muffin. And then one morning I said, you know, can I just have the plain muffin? And she goes, you've been having it this way for so long, and now you changed.
Is that when you decided to?
I
bake your
decided
own-
I'm taking things into my own hands.
Good for you.
And then
Let's
I also
taste
decided I was going to make muffins.
Good for you. Let's see how these muffins are. Oh, are you going to taste this with me?
I can't because once I start, I can't stop.
You know what, Chip?
All right.
These are Chip, you forgot the paper. The paper. Oh, I forgot to ask. Are these gluten free? Oh shit! I can't have. I can't have gluten. I can't have gluten. Shit. Are these
have a paper bag.
Here's a paper bag. You know what?
I'm hyperventilating.
Here. Yeah,
Thank you.
please help yourself. Help yourself. This is a family-friendly show. Do what you need to do.
No, I'll save it
No,
for
no.
later because I had a big lunch.
I understand.
I'm gonna put
you
it right
did?
here.
Oh, because I got you some turkey.
Right here.
You like a little turkey?
No.
No, don't you need protein? Have a little protein.
No,
Chip.
I don't
Chip,
want any protein.
Chip, have a little.
All right.
Chip,
I'm on the reverse Atkins diet.
you don't want.
No.
This is turkey. It's all
No.
protein.
It's the Chet Atkins diet.
Chip, why don't you
I
have
think
a
he's
chip?
dead.
Chip, do you want a chip? Chip, I got chips for Chip. Okay, you don't.
Is
You know what?
this a theme show?
The theme is. The theme is that
You know
you're
what? There's
here.
a lot of shows that you can go on and do stuff like that, and unfortunately, they're on the Food Network. But anyway,
You know what? My
I'm
thing
going
is
to wrap
this
this
is
up
ve-
because
thi-
I used to be a deli guy, and when I see cold cuts like that out, it, you know, It just violates.
So you know how it should go. You know what?
Put it over there
The
because
theme
I don't
of
want
my
the Board of Health to show up
let me
and
be
cancel
honest
the
with
show.
you, Chip. Let me be honest with you because I don't like to like.
We've been talking for 10 minutes and now you're honest?
I'm being honest.
Right.
I don't. You know what? This is an open-ended show. This is about you, my guest. You are my guest, Chip Ambrogio. Now listen.
Nothing's ever been about me.
Today,
That's great.
Today, it is about you and
Okay.
your life. You know what? You have your own podcast called The Basement Chronicles with
Yes,
your
I
son,
do.
McLean, on Thursdays on 8 o'clock on cspress.com. How would you pronounce that correctly?
It's sassafras. No, it's actually Spreecast. And
How do you
it's
spell
McLean.
Spree? Spell Spree.
SPREECAST.com. And the great thing about Spreecast, which I'm sure your show's very interactive too, is that people can log in, they can talk in the chat room, we can bring up video, we can talk about the video. So sometimes people send in clips, and actually this Thursday at 8 o'clock, we are giving away T-shirts.
You are?
We're having a big T-shirt giveaway, so if people tune into the show this Thursday at 8, then we are giving away a bunch of T-shirts designed by cartoonist and comedian Pat Lamb.
You're kidding me.
Yes.
Oh, I love Pat Lamb. He's
I
very
love him,
talented.
too.
You know what? I love his cartooning. I
actually,
happen
what
to
we do
love
is-
his cartooning.
I do too.
I think he's a great cartoonist.
And we-
You know what I love most about Pat Lamb more than anything?
What?
Is his fiancee Faith. I think Pat is the luckiest guy in the world. You know what? This is.
I wonder if we're going to get invited to his wedding. You think we're going to get invited to his
I
wedding?
hope so. How nice would that be to be at
That
their
would be
wedding?
nice.
How nice would that be? But the thing is,
Do you know what
Pat
his
has
nickname
one of
is for
10
her?
kids. He doesn't. He has 10 siblings. So, I have a feeling it's going to be hard for the guests.
Right.
But what is
if he
his
invites
nickname?
his family,
What's his?
that's 100 people right there.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to interview him next time because it seems as though we're giving a lot of.
Right.
But so what's his nickname for Faith?
He calls her Birdie.
Birdie.
You know why? Because he goes, she gets up early in the morning like a bird, and she eats like a bird. That's how he calls her Birdie.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
And you're going to be giving away his T-shirts.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So
and
that's
actually,
on
we've been
Thursday,
actually
8
selling
o'clock.
his T-shirts for a while on our show. People love. He has a shirt that says "Playful" on it, and people love that shirt. And we
Playful?
must.
What do you mean play? Like
It's
sexual
like no,
play
no,
or what?
no.
What kind of play?
It's just like this cute figure that he made up, and it says "Playful."
Yeah.
And the kids love it, and our viewers. We must have sold about 25 of his shirts on the show.
That's interesting. Now let me ask you something. You're a grown man, but your son is not. He's a teenager. So,
Right.
Does that give you a bigger audience because of the age? He's only 15.
Yep.
McLean is almost.
McLean is
McLean.
McLean is 16. He actually just turned 16. And let me tell you, I went driving with him for the first time last night. He drove to get ice cream, and I was so stressed. I can't even tell you.
That's the worst. Is that the worst? Is this?
Right.
Did he just turn 16? He just got that permit.
He just got it, so now he's taking his last test, and then the driving instructor, and those people are always like so easy to talk to. He's like, he goes, "I want to talk to you about your kid." I'm like, "Thanks," and he's like, "Well, he's not as focused as he should be." And then meanwhile, I'm like looking over there, I'm not paying attention to what the guy's saying, and so he goes, "Well, just be careful and make sure he doesn't go through red lights, stop signs." And doesn't drive too fast. So that's what I paid the guy $300 for.
Yeah,
So
you
tell
needed
me
that
stuff-
like a hole in the
Tell me
head.
stuff like that. But yeah, it does increase our audiences because we have young kids.
Right.
And then we have like a whole
Seniors, would you say? Senior
no,
division? Or
but we had a show where we had we tried to have a Girl Scout cookie selling contest. So we
Oh.
pitted Girl Scouts against each other from different regions of New Jersey to see who could sell the most cookies.
I love it.
Right. Of course, it was very bad for their self-esteem, but the numbers were through the roof for us.
Which is all that really
Which is
matters
great.
when you think about it. So who won? Which region won?
So, Bergen County won because they're all rich. They don't care.
and they're closest to
They buy
New
the
York
cookies,
City,
and then
of
the
course. So that's
moms,
all
they
that-
don't eat them anyway. They got their personal trainers. They throw them out.
Of course, you
Our
should have
most-
brought them to me. I would have shoved them in my mouth.
Our most interesting sale, though, was we had a guy call from Australia. He called from,
did?
not call, but like log in from Australia.
I love it.
And he wanted to buy some cookies, but the shipping actually would cost more than the cookies.
Oh.
But we've had people from China. It's not like we have about 600 or 700 people
And
that watch
growing, and growing.
per show. And it's fun because we've had a little 3-week hiatus. But last week we did a show because we just felt bad that we hadn't done one in a long time. And so we just did it from a friend's couch, which was different than we usually do. And we had some woman from England. We only had like 5 viewers because we didn't advertise. And this woman from England just kept talking to us. And now she's sending us emails and she wants to send us cookies.
You know, if I could suggest, if you could rebroadcast that, I would love to see that one, honestly.
Oh, they're all, actually, you can check them out on Spreecast.com. They're all archived on
Oh,
Spreecast.com.
they're archived.
So
Perfect. Because I would love to check it out. I would love to check it out.
You should actually call in. I should return the favor. You should come in and call in one time, and we would interview.
I think you should return the favor, Chip. I think you should. Can we talk about something? Can we talk about a project that you've been working on with someone, Room for Improvement?
Yes. Well, Elaine Williams, who's a comedian and a motivational speaker and a friend of both of ours.
Yes, I love Elaine.
Asked me to try to help develop a vehicle for her.
Honestly, I really do love Faith, Pat's fiance. But I totally am enamored.
You know what?
Elaine
I'm going to have to
Williams.
say this.
I love. How
I can put up with anything. I can put up with anything,
is
Randy.
Elaine Williams?
But if we're going to continue to rank people as we like them, and I keep going further down the list.
No.
It really
But listen, you're
ruins
on
my
the show.
self-esteem.
Listen, you're on the show. You got to understand. Yeah,
It's
I
all
love
it's the flour and the muffins that makes me go crazy.
You know, I love. Listen, as much as I love these people, they're not on my show. You are, Chip. You.
That's
Chip Ambrogio,
a good
it's
point.
you.
That's a
you know,
good
you
point.
have to understand. But seriously,
That's a good point.
I have a thing for blonde women. How hot is Elaine Williams? How hot is she?
She's very cute. She really is.
She's cute. She's intelligent. She's
Yes.
funny. I mean, she's got
and
it
she's
all.
a sweetheart. You don't meet people like that.
Oh, excuse me, I just drooled on myself. I hope you're. Don't worry about it. So, so please tell me about it.
So
I want to hear about Room for Improvement.
She had actually met somebody from a production company, Megalo Media, in Austin, Texas, and we put together something for them, which was Room for Improvement. And basically, it's about her life. It's a reality show, and what it is she's a motivational speaker and stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Fortune 500 companies hire her for her great advice. She's also a landlord in Bloomfield in a 3-family house, and no one in the house listens to a damn thing that she says.
I know.
Right?
Do you know she's given me advice? She's actually coached me privately, because I'm like one of her neurotic friends that call her, and when she has.
And you actually make an appearance, we have to say.
Yeah.
And you were nice enough to act in the pilot.
It was my pleasure, actually.
And we actually put together the video, and at the same time, A&E was running a contest for unscripted pilot for their unscripted pilot pipeline for pilots. And so I said to Elaine, "Why don't we submit? We have everything here."
Sure.
And we submitted it, and I forgot about it. And she called me about 3 weeks ago and said they picked us.
Oh my God!
So now we're one of the
So
semifinalists in
wonderful.
the contest. We get to be artists at their October festival. I think it's in New York City. So they're going to show our pilot, and what we're going to do is be able to talk to all the executives and also pitch them other ideas. And what they will eventually do is whittle down the 25 to 5. The 5 will get some more money to produce more.
Right.
And the 1 will get the most money and produce a pilot, which I think will be on the air.
You know what? My fingers are crossed for you guys. I've got to see it, and it's wonderful.
No, thank you.
It is so professional. It is so well put together. It is so clear. I just love it. I can't wait till everyone could see this. When can everyone see this?
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with A&E.
Right.
But maybe we should actually do, like you do, your podcast. Maybe we should actually do something like that. I had another idea for a podcast. Can I share it? This is
Please,
the first
please.
time I wanted to do. I used to work in corporate.
Right.
So I got laid off about a year ago and decided I couldn't take it anymore, and I didn't want to go back to a corporate job. So what I wanted to do is do a podcast called I Need a Job, or Do I? And what I want to do is talk about my experience in this year of working on my own
Right.
and freelancing, which has gone pretty well, but the summer's been slow, so I started to think, do I need another job?
It's very scary when you have your own business and you're like, oh, am I going to make ends meet?
Right. Well, you've worked in corporate, and haven't you? Or you teach now, don't you?
Yeah, I guess preschool is
Right.
like corporate. Would you say?
Well, right. Any kind of like organization has rules, and that's the problem.
I think changing poopy diapers would be considered corporate. I would agree to that.
You do that in corporate all the time. It's just don't physically do it. That's the problem.
right.
It's like you're changing the executives' poopy diapers every day.
Right.
So speaking of that, I got a call from KPMG, which is a big company.
Sure.
So they looked at my LinkedIn profile and they foolishly called me and asked me if I wanted to come in for a job. So the background on that is 5 years ago, I went to KPMG on a job interview when I worked someplace else. And I went in and they said, oh, great interview. We're going to call you for a second interview. And I never got a call because I guess at the same time they started laying off a ton of people. So jump forward 3 years. They call me again for a job because a friend of mine works there. I go in. I have an interview with some kid that's just out of college, probably 23 years old. They look at my resume, and she's like, there's a gap in your resume.
Oh, no.
And I
the
said-
22-year-old
Yeah,
said that to
right.
you because it's nice to have to answer to a 22-year-old.
And here it is. I buy a suit for this. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a suit guy.
I get it.
I mean,
get it.
I know on
I'm
TV.
looking at you now.
On TV, I know I look pretty dapper.
I did ask you to dress nice.
He'd
but I
asked me to
guess
dress nice.
This was the best.
So I
you could
buy
do.
a suit. I go in and I said, there's no gap in my resume. She goes, well, you left this job in December and you started that one in January. I said, that's
kidding?
called a Christmas vacation, but since it's HR, a holiday break.
Right.
So she said, well, you still have to explain that. So I said, there's really nothing to explain. And then what happens is we go through our thing. She asked me about employee engagement, how I would get employees involved and everything. And then she says, okay, well, now you're going to interview with this person. So I said, oh, that's great because I interviewed with them last time. She goes, you interviewed with them last time? I said, yeah. She goes, hold on. So she leaves, and then she comes back. And she goes, she's actually, something came up, and she's too busy to meet with you right now. So I freaked out.
I would have
freaked out. I was like,
I would have freaked also.
I was like, that's totally unprofessional. Here I am sitting here trying to
Absolutely.
explain what I did after I stuffed the kids' stockings between Christmas and New Year, and now you won't let me meet with this woman? And she goes, well, you should have told us. I said, what do you think? I'm keeping secrets from you? You guys know I was here before. You don't
Sure.
have records that I was here before? And so then I said, well, here's an idea for employee engagement. Don't screw people over. Don't make people take a day off from work, and then don't let them interview. So as we're going down in the car, I'm ranting and raving like a lunatic. You know me. I'm the most mild-mannered guy in the world.
You really are, because you know what? How I know you are, because you even have patience for me. No one has patience for me. Nobody has patience for me, and you do. So that's how I do know. But enough about me. Let's
then
talk about
as
you.
I get into the lobby, security comes, and they're like, well, sir, do you need some help walking to your car? And I'm like, I've been walking on my own a long time now.
Oh no!
And so then they call me back for this job, and like an idiot, like a sucker, I tell the guy, Roger. Their names are, the recruiters are always Roger. He calls me and says, oh, well, your background looks perfect for this. And I said, well, they hate me. They hate me there. They threw me out there before. All those people aren't there anymore. So I go in, I meet with this woman, Bonnie. It's always Roger and Bonnie.
Bonnie,
right?
sure.
Kind of a weird cult, Roger and Bonnie.
Bonnie's a very pleasant name, though.
Yeah, she was pleasant, but they always act pleasant. So they said, oh, can you write me something so we can have an example of your writing? And can you tell me something? Can you give me something that shows your project management experience? I said, like my resume, like I just gave you?
Right.
And so, make a long story short, I do it. I jump through hoops. I get everything to them in like 2 days because they wanted it before 4th of July.
Sure.
Because it was going to be Independence Day from the fun that I've been having working for myself. And then I get a form rejection letter 3 days later from Roger. And I called up Roger. I said, Roger, what's the deal? I thought I was going in to meet with him. He goes, I don't know what happened, Chip. They never know what happens. Right? So I said, well, can you give me some feedback as to why this happened, so maybe next time when I go for a job, I'll be able to improve my skills, because that's the kind of BS they tell you to tell the recruiter.
Of course. So you're doing what you have to do.
Of course, he doesn't get back to me, and I sent him. I said, Roger, what about the feedback? And then he sends an email and says, well, they just were not happy with your writing sample.
But aren't you writing a sitcom?
Well,
That they don't like it? Aren't you?
there's
in the
no
process of
jokes
writing-
in corporate, Randy. No jokes in corporate, I
Aren't
guess.
you working on Don't Know Jack?
Yes, I actually was writing
And
for
they have
a sitcom,
and they have
Don't
no
Know
so
Jack.
they're not happy with your writing. And if you ask me, that is one of your strongest points. I think that I think your
tried to put
writing
my
is
baking
amazing.
skills in front of them. I tried to bring them some fresh baked goods,
And they didn't even
and they
care.
just
They
spit
didn't
it back in my face. They
Screw
spit
them.
it back in
You know
my
what?
face.
Forget about them. You know what? From now on, we can only move forward. Am I right? We can only move forward.
You can only move forward.
They said, these
Sorry, that
stories.
upset me a little bit.
Listen, understood. These things are very upsetting, especially considered after all the success that you've had and continue to be having, between home improvements with Elaine Williams. You're a regular on the Watson and Watson show. Who's the other Watson? It's Johnny Watson. Are you
his
the other
mother.
one? And his mother.
A comic
is she
and his
really
mom.
from England? Is Johnny
Yes.
Watson's mom really?
No, but she
Is
sounds like
blonde?
that.
Is she blonde?
Yes, she is blonde.
Would I find her attractive?
I don't know,
does
because you have a
Johnny-
thing for blonde female comics.
I do, but I
Right.
also think Johnny Watson.
Or I have a
is
thing for
very
old
good-looking.
Jewish male comics.
You like who?
Right.
You like
Henny
Jackie
Youngman.
Henny
He
Youngman.
does it for
Henny
me.
Youngman. Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
One or two one-liners, and that's it. I'm done.
You're done.
I am done.
well, please
I
take
am
my
done.
wife.
Take my
right?
wife, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Can I tell you something? When my wife sits around the house, she really sits around the house.
Right.
You know, 'cause
My
she's
favorite
if you say
old-
that right, it's very
Right.
funny. That
Henny
his
Youngman-
jokes never go out of style.
Bit was like, and he did it in the 70s. He goes, yeah. So I was in my dressing room, and there was a hole in the wall, and Farrah Fawcett had the dressing room next to me, and everything. So I said, so he goes, hey. So I let her look. I met Uncle Floyd for the first time.
I love Uncle Floyd.
Uncle
Did you think
Floyd-
he's hot? Would you do Uncle Floyd honestly? Would
He
you?
is, well, yeah.
Or you only like Henny Youngman and
Well,
like that.
if you put
genre?
Oogie on one hand.
Oogie.
Yes,
Oogie.
I worked with him on last Thursday night, and the guy was such a sweetheart, like the nicest guy, and it was just a pleasure to work with him. It was great. I used to watch his show as a kid, and then when you see him, and he's the same guy or nicer,
Yeah.
it was just such a great. I had to drive like 2 hours, and I did it as a favor to open up for him because it wasn't as like as much money as I usually get, and I wanted to meet him, and it was the best. I would have done it for free. He was the best.
Isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
I loved
he's
him.
a legend. He's
Loved him.
I think he's fantastic, and I just think that he should be a household name. I think he should be known worldwide because that's how talented I think he is. And speaking of Uncle Floyd, I want to ask you, what drives you in this? Like, what makes you happy? What brings you joy? Like, what gives you the most fulfillment in what you do?
Well, I don't know. I'd say when I first started, it was the writing.
The writing.
Because I remember I took a year off of high school, and I worked for a year because I wanted to see what it was like not to. And I worked actually at an old-fashioned soda fountain. And it was like a 125-year-old drugstore with a soda fountain there. And I actually want to write a sitcom about that place because
So
it was so...
So you basically served soda all day? That was
And
your
waited on
job?
customers and things like that. And the guy that owned the place was like 85 years old. His name was like Mr. Dunn. And he would be like, hey, boy, clean that up. And he could never remember my name. He'd be like, Zipper, did you make some more syrup?
Oh,
and like, did you write that on the board? And he was just like this nicest guy. And everybody didn't think he was nice. But when I left to go to college, he would call me up as soon as I got back from college. And he would say, Zipper, I need you to come clean the basement. And I would move boxes from one side of the basement to the other side just so he could pay me. And then from the other side to the other. Great guy. He actually offered to put me through pharmacy school. But
And you declined?
no.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
When you were serving fountain sodas back then, sodas, what is that? SODERS? Did they have tab? Did
Yes,
tab
they
come out?
did.
They did. You served tab? Did you put lemon in it?
They had tab, and you would put lemon in it. And actually, we made the soda because only the Coke came through the thing, and what we would have like the syrup.
Right.
And you would take the syrup, and then you would put the seltzer in the syrup, and you would mix it just right. And we would make ice cream sodas, and we would make malteds, which people really don't make anymore with the malt, and you'd put it in there. And it was, and we would have like this room in the back, because they only hired the kids that went to St. Mary's High School.
Did you go there?
Yeah,
Did you
because
go
I guess
there?
like they trusted the Catholic school kids were not going to
Sure.
steal as much as the public school kids. Talk about profiling. Anyway, and in the closet, there was people scratched their names in from like when they worked there, and there was names back from 1909. It was like amazing, and we just had like these weird customers that would come in all the time, like There's this one guy, and his name was Frank Monahan, and he would come in and
Did you order tab with lemon?
what he would
Or
come in,
Sanka?
he'd be
Did
like,
you serve Sanka? Did you serve
we served Sanka. We were stuck in a time warp. If we could go back, you could probably have everything that you would want
I wish I could
at
go
a
there
place.
today.
And it was great because it had the beautiful marble counters and everything. And the lady that I worked with, her name was Grace Martin.
Grace
And
Martin.
she was like, she'd always have these sayings. She'd be like, you can't be backward about coming forward. Like, because if you wanted to ask a girl out,
Yeah.
she would say stuff like that. And then all the Mets used to come in because we lived in Greenwich. So the Mets would come in and Bob Murphy, who used to be an announcer for the Mets, I used to wait on him all the time. He used to have a chicken salad and bacon sandwich. And I was a huge Met fan. Still am a huge Met fan. And Grace would always
you get
talk to him.
slack for being a Met fan today?
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
understand.
but Grace would talk to him and she would just come up with these ideas in her head. And she would say, Mr. Murphy, he is the biggest Met fan. He does not care if Rusty Staub's a homo. As long as he leaves the other boys alone, he's fine, you know? And that she would like just come out with these things. And she was a dog lover. So she had this dog, Judy,
Judy?
who I thought was her sister because when I first,
Who was Judy named after?
I don't know, but when I first started working there, she'd be like, Judy and I went to Nova Scotia. And I'd be like, who's that? So there'd be pictures of her like on a tilt-a-whirl with like the dog and things like that. And the dog was like 17 or 18 when I was working there, and none of the guys wanted to work if that dog was going to pass away because we knew Grace was going to be in a horrible mood because
course.
whenever she was in a bad mood, like you were behind the counter, she would like elbow you, and she was
we
like,
all know people.
she was like an
love their
Israeli
dogs.
trained waitress. She could like really hurt you.
I know. Don't you find most people love their pets more than
They
they
do.
love humans?
They do. And I remember the dogs one time, these two dogs are having a good time outside of the store one time, and all the cops who used to direct traffic in the middle of the street were
What do you
sitting.
mean having a good time? They were drinking a tab and a Sanka?
They're having a tab and a Sanka, and they were really drinking it. And see how we kept it clean? Wasn't that good?
Yeah.
And so the cops are laughing at what's going on, and Grace comes over and she goes, "You won't do it. You go home with your girlfriends and your wives." And I'm like, oh my God, this is like really uncomfortable. But I actually had somebody die at the counter while I was working there one time. Her name was Fat Ann. She was
Fat
this
Ann?
big lady that used to come in all the time, and she used to have like a
Was she like Big Ange? Was she like the original
just-
Big
yes,
Or just
she
Fat
was-
Ange? No, Ann, not Anne.
They used to call her Fat Ann because Grace did not like her at all.
Right.
And so,
And obviously Grace was the queen bee.
oh yes. So Ann would come in and she'd bring like a romance novel, and she would sit at the counter and she would read the novel, and then she would have a grilled cheese and bacon, but open face.
Was it kosher?
No.
No. You can't mix meat with dairy. Of course it wasn't.
It was the
That
kosher
so-
bacon.
The kosher
We used to use
bacon.
the kosher bacon.
Right.
And so then Angela, who was the cook who used to live next door to me, he would go, "What does she think? You know, you make the bacon, you open it up, all the calories fly out, you know?" And so she would come in and she would sit there for like 3 hours, and she would eat and she would drink iced tea. And then it used to drive Grace crazy. So she was there one day, and all of a sudden she drinks her iced tea, and she just falls back over on the stool, knocks over all the sunglasses. And the other kid that was with me knew CPR, so he gets up and starts doing CPR on her,
Yeah.
and she just had a heart attack and died and passed away. But this is how much
And
Grace...
how old were you at the time that you
I
were
was like
witnessing
16 or 17.
this? That
And
had
this
to be
is
that
how-
had to be terrifying. That
Well,
really
the
had-
terrifying part was this is how much Grace hated her. So as they're coming to take her out, she goes in her wallet, she takes the money out for the food, rings it up, and puts the change back in her wallet. She goes, "Well, she ate, didn't she?"
Oh my goodness.
You can't make stuff like
No,
that
you
up.
can't. No, you can't.
But anyway, the point of I started to write. I loved to write, and then I met a guy in college who was a writer, Joel Oppenheimer, and
Where'd you go to college?
I went to New England College in Henniker, New Hampshire, the only Henniker on earth, and thank God for that.
Right. Was it an all boys college?
It was a liberal. Why? What are you trying to say?
That you're a boy?
Yes.
That you were
Okay.
a boy once?
All right. So, that's right. Sometimes I get, I get a little gender bias sometimes against myself.
Oh no. We'll have none of that.
But yeah, so I went there, and he.
I love all the genders. I really do. You gotta love them.
You gotta. But he was a writer for the Village Voice, and my creative writing teacher was Russell Banks, and Russell Banks wrote The Affliction, which was a movie,
Was
Nick
that about
Nolte
me?
was in.
Because I feel like I have a ton of afflictions.
It was The Affliction, but it was the male version of The Affliction, and he wrote The Sweet Hereafter, which was actually based on what happened to his daughter. So he was like my creative writing teacher.
Right.
But he really didn't care about anything but his own writing, but he did help me along. But Joel Oppenheimer said to me, he goes, if you come out and you want to start writing and you want to use my name to try to get some things published, I'll help you. And I never took advantage of it.
What did happen to his daughter?
Well, what happened was The Sweet Hereafter, if you ever saw it, is based on, there's a bus accident in a small New England town, New Hampshire. And what happens, all the children are on the bus and all the children are killed. It goes off a cliff. So the town is left with no children. And then he juxtaposes that against the Pied Piper when the Pied Piper takes all the kids out of town. So what happens is this lawyer comes in to file a lawsuit so that everybody in the town can capitalize on it. And it's the interaction of the people and what happens. And what happened with his daughter is his daughter was hit by a bus.
Yeah.
She survived, but she had some complications and stuff. So I think he took that and he used that as the basis for his story. That and a turkey breast.
Would you like some turkey? I am
No, I
starving.
really can't. I really can't.
Yeah, I tell you, we have to start wrapping up because
of the
when I get
nitrates
hungry, when I feel my sugar levels
Then
dropping,
you know it's time to get out.
You know it's
Who needs
time
a
to-
timer when you have turkey?
No, yeah. That's what the turkey all is about. I am so happy you came today. I am
so happy that I was here. This is so much fun. I hope you have me back, and I hope you appear on the Basement Chronicles. I would love to have you
tell them
on.
again about the Basement
The
Chronicles.
Basement
when it's
Chronicles
on.
every Thursday, 8 p.m. on Spreecast. And you can join us. You can go onto our Facebook page, our Twitter. And every week we have a different guest. And it's my 16-year-old son and I. And we look at the world from my perspective and his perspective.
I love it. And what about, and you're a regular on Johnny Watson as well?
On the Watson and Watson show, which is on hiatus. That's usually Wednesday nights. And I don't know what they're on right now, both literally and figuratively. And that's it. And actually, I will be in Ocean City, Maryland on the 23rd and the 24th of August.
Where will you be?
I will be at the, what is it called? Is it Casino Royale?
Casino Royale?
Or something Royale. Pacific Royale. In Ocean City, Maryland.
Will this
for that
be on
weekend.
your website? Could you give your website
my
so that
website
everybody
is-
could know where you're going to be?
Is chipambrogio.webs.com.
You have to go see everybody. You got to go out and see Chip. He is hysterical. His act is brilliant. It's so. If you like smart humor, if you like poopy jokes and stuff, you may not like it. But he has intelligent humor, very intelligent, witty, hysterical. It's my
Thank
kind
you.
of humor.
Thank you, Randy. I
although I
appreciate
do like
that.
dick and fart jokes. Don't get me wrong.
I could throw a couple in
I really,
for the tourists.
I really
to.
liked it. So again, when August or July?
August 23rd and 24th, and it's I think it's the Princess Royale in Ocean City, Maryland. I'm trying to think where else I will be. I'll be in the 4th. I will be in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Funny Bones?
No, I don't know
Cranky
where.
Bones?
Funny, it's some kind of a tractor pull, but I think I'm the headliner, which is great.
Awesome.
So
those are the kind of gigs you want.
You have to take those. You have to take those.
Those are cream of the crop. Don't let anyone tell you
Right.
otherwise.
Right. Well, it has been such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And when will your show air? So that I can tell my minions to watch.
Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to contact you, and I will give you exactly when it's going to air. And just like your show, it's also archived as well. So if you can't listen to it on the exact time and date, you do it at your leisure, and pleasure.
Thank you so much. And next time if you have me back, I'll bake a bundt cake.
Promise?
I promise.
Oh, then you're definitely coming back. Thanks again. Chip Ambrogio, everyone.
Thank you, Andy. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Speak to
Bye.
you soon.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Randi Lupo Show. Thanks for checking out the show. Be sure to follow Randi on Twitter at Randi Lupo. Visit her website at randilupo.com. Thanks to Broadband Box Office and VK Media. Have a great evening.